Hi, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photography talks. So today I want to talk about breaking out a different camera than you're used to using all the time, just to shake it up a little bit, just to make it a little different. So I love using a Nikon F2 and an F3, and I was going through and I found this Nikon F, which is an absolute brick. It is such a heavy, incredibly well-made camera from, I think it came out in 1959. And this is the camera that really challenged the Leicas. The Leicas were the war photography camera of choice, war photographer's camera of choice. And then this comes out, and this is a beast that can probably save your life if a bullet hits it. And I had this with a 105 2.5, which I'm not even a telephoto guy. I'm a wide guy. I love 24s and 20s. So I said, you know what, I'm going to shake it up. I'm going to put a raw film into this Nikon F, and I'm going to shoot it because it gives me a different perspective. It challenges me to look differently. I shoot more portraits. I shoot more close-ups. I shoot more things that are in the distance that have a different feeling than when I shoot with a wide angle and I get close to things. And I was always amazed that this Nikon has the shutter button so far back on the body. Like most of them put them up in the front part, but this is back in the back. This body, without this photomic head, was the same body that they had used on their Nikon rangefinders. And once they put this all together, this body was the same body that they used on their rangefinders, and the rangefinder always had that shutter release way in the back there. But talk about a piece of quality equipment that I don't think it'll ever stop working. And that 105 2.5 is such a sweet lens. That lens is the lens that famously photographed Afghan Girl by Steve McCurry on the National Geographic cover. And every lens that Nikon makes and every lens you have and I have, they're all great lenses these days. There's no such thing as a bad lens. But the point is, it's about what you do with it, how you create with it, and what you get inspired by. And sometimes getting inspired means pulling out something that you don't use all the time and shaking it up. And that's what I've really been doing with that. And I find that it does change my world. It changes the way I walk. It changes where I go and how I approach things. And I definitely notice my partner, she is in LA, and she has come to Colorado because of the health crisis. And with her here, she gives me a great subject to be able to work and make portraits of. And so it is certainly, I'm not always photographing her in her world with a 24 unless I'm doing environmental portrait. I'm doing something where she's in some place doing something, and I'm including her in her surroundings. This camera and this lens doesn't do that. This camera isolates her, and I can do portraits. And it's great in a help quarantine situation, stay-at-home situation, to have somebody else in the home that photographs. Otherwise, you're just stuck doing self-portraits, which isn't a bad idea. Self-portraits is a great idea for, hey, if you're at home and you have nothing to photograph, make self-portraits. I have a friend who would, on his, I think when he turned 50 he did it, and when he turned 60 he did it. He photographed himself every day for his 60th year and his 50th year with a medium format camera to just document every day one self-portrait. And he would have to come up with new ideas of how to do it and use a cable release or use a self-timer. But the idea of coming up with a way to make your own photograph, a self-portrait's a great photo project in a time like now where we're at home and we have to make our creativity work where we are, which isn't getting out too far. And if you want to push your ideas, shoot with a camera and a lens you don't often use, and you might find it inspiring to create something a little different than you're used to, and it adds to your bag of tricks. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. I welcome your comments. If you can support, I welcome that. Thank you. Hit the Patreon link, and I will Be back next week. We'll talk photography. As always, here's the good light.